Howard, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks very much for speaking with us. Do you think this is everybody's worst fear coming true, or can one sit back and try to make sense of it all? Look at the silver lining, perhaps. Your reaction initially?
Well, obviously, it's not everybody's worst fears coming true, because if Trump wins, it's going to be because most of the people want him. Maybe not the financial community, but obviously there are tens of millions of Americans who want him because they believe he will produce solutions. Nobody knows exactly what his election means. His campaign promises in some areas were vague, in some areas changeable, in some areas I would say unrealistic. A lot will, of course, he doesn't have a record that we can look at in any way. A lot will depend on who are his appointees and whether serious, experienced leaders will join his administration, and whether he will look for them, and whether he will take their advice. So I think that a lot of what markets will be looking at in the short run are, number one, his personal attributes, which of course the cities, the Northeast, the financial markets have had a problem with all along, and then the uncertainty involved in exactly what he can stand for and what he will be able to do. Nobody knows the answer on that. So it's really uncertainty versus Mrs. Clinton, who most of us considered a known quantity.
Howard, in your memos, you've talked about Trump, and you've said that while it's anger within America which has made him that popular, aside of course, his celebrity glamour attached to him, but you've said that Trump promised to help, and it has won him a lot of votes. Let's analyze Trump's strategy. If indeed it's Trump at the Oval Office, what in the world economy are we going to stare at?
I'm sorry, I couldn't make out your question.
No, I'm just talking about if indeed it's Trump who actually wins today's elections, what kind of a world economic scenario are we staring at? Because he's talked about trade wars, and that's what equity markets across the globe are fearing at this juncture.
Right. Well, I think that's there's a great amount of uncertainty as to what he does stand for. The area in which he has been, or one of the areas in which he has been most concrete, has been trade, and he is anti-trade, certainly in what he has said. Is that what he'll do? We don't know. What his advisor will say, what he can get through the Congress, we don't know. I think that his statements have been very finely honed for his audience, and they worked. I think, in appealing to his audience. But, did he mean them? And does he understand the limitations? And, will they translate into action? I think it's far too early to jump to conclusions about what he will do. Of course, the business and financial community will be unhappy if he wins. And my guess is that markets will sell off.
Howard, Donald Trump is also talking about bringing tax rates down. He's talking about a path where he wants to jumpstart the American economy by spending more. Do you think those promises are going to be difficult to really keep up, because there is a fiscal cliff which will not allow them to cut taxes? Well,
this is another example of the uncertainty. First of all, he can't cut taxes on his own. He needs the cooperation of the legislature. The legislature has been very good at preventing Obama from taking action over the last 8 years. Maybe the Democrats would be equally skillful in preventing Trump from taking action. So we don't know. In America, not only do you need the president, you need the cooperation of the legislature. And in the Senate, in particular, on many things, you don't need 51%, you need 60%, which is extremely hard to obtain. So, look, I think that...
Right. Howard, just Howard, just stay on with us for a second. We have one of India's largest asset managers with us right now, and he's a big fan. He wants to ask you a question. S. Narain is with us. Narain, go ahead with your question.
Naren here, sir. What we wanted to know, is there a big change in the bond market view which would happen thanks to Trump?
In the what market?
Bond market, US bond market.
The bond market. Yes. Well, I think that look, Trump's initial economic proposals, which were reviewed by Moody's, were projected to add billions, trillions to the national debt. Most people would assume that might reduce our friends abroad, might be expected to raise our cost of capital, to raise inflation. So, I think I would expect that the bond market would look very seriously at a Trump presidency, as with most other assets. But I do think that there would be serious misgivings. Again, like everything else, we have to see which of his positions are turned into action.
Okay. So do you think the market reaction would be substantial for a long period of time, or it will settle once Trump actually gives his policies clearly?
Well, I think it would take some time for him to give policies clearly. I think that, among other things, he needs a Secretary of Treasury, and that Secretary of Treasury and his whole team would have to formulate their views. So I do think that if he were elected, I think there would be substantial uncertainty abroad, and I do not think it would be cleared up for some time. So I think that the markets would, it's hard to say, and I'm not a short-term forecaster, and I would certainly not bet on my own opinion. I caution your listeners not to bet on what I'm saying. But, I would think that the markets would trend down if there was a Trump presidency in the early days before we see what he really stands for.
Right.
I think that the financial classes will not take this as good news if he wins.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll talk about the impact on emerging markets as well, Howard. But just taking a leaf from your memo that you put out yesterday, the aspect I consider most important for the future relates to the Trump supporters and some of the most active and vocal ones who are motivated by an anger regarding the system that is neither purely emotional nor illegitimate. And that's the paradox that we are faced with, where people are asking governments to focus on jobs, to focus on growth. And that's what is coming through in this anti-incumbency wave or the choice made by the people of the United States.
Right. Well, look, the truth of the matter is that I've been alive a long time, and the environment felt better 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The environment is not what it used to be in terms of growth, in terms of job creation, in terms of prosperity, in terms of optimism. And nobody's happy. Some people have been more negatively affected than others. Many of them are the Trump supporters. They look to the government to fix things. People like me believe that the government can't change all that much in the environment. But Trump has promised that he will, and many millions of people believe him.
So, Howard, what do you think will be changing for financial markets? Because currently the social fabric of the world is changing. There is a strong sense of anti-incumbency, whether it's in Asia, it's in Europe, or even in US. Central bankers are failing to achieve their targeted goals. Inflation at a global level is still low. So what kind of world do you think we could be staring at in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, look, Trump has promised that he'll get GDP growth up to 4 to 6%, and there's some question about whether that's possible under any circumstances. But if he's going to try, clearly there has to be some combination of deregulation, which is a lot of what he ran on, and fiscal stimulus, and probably continued monetary stimulus. So, these are all the things that we'll probably be seeing. As Moody says, they will add to the debt. They will add to the deficits. Moody's doesn't think they'll work. Moody's expects Trump's policies to lower our GDP growth rate, but he says he'll raise them. And you and I will have to sit back and see over a period of time.
Yes, most definitely, Howard.
Unfortunately,
Yes, please
I
complete
have
your
to
point.
go now.
Right.
Yeah. Howard, just one point before we let you go. I mean, it's such a neck-to-neck close call right now, so you don't really know which way the vote is going to swing, whether it's going to be Trump or Clinton. What kind of a world scenario are we staring at if indeed Clinton makes it to the White House? And do you think it'll be as normal, just a continuation of the policies by Obama government?
I think that obviously there would be differences in the details, but I think that there would not. I think that she is the candidate of the status quo. If Trump beats her, it's because he portrayed her as the candidate of the status quo. But I think she would not make radical changes. Most of what she does would be a continuation of Obama's policies. The only thing I can tell you right now is if she were to be declared the winner, I think there would be a substantial relief rally. People exhaling and saying, "My God, we were close to having Trump. We have Hillary. I'm so happy." I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do think that would be the result.
But I know you have to leave, and we are so grateful that you were able to take our time to speak with us today. I just want to slip in one quick, last take from you. What does this mean for the emerging market world? We sitting in India over here are looking at the screen and wondering who wins in the United States mean for emerging markets like India?
Well, I think that, look, a lot of what most of us are excited about for India is really domestic. And, we believe that India is improving its institutions, improving its processes, and its politics. And I'm hopeful that a Trump presidency would not have a profound negative impact on India.
Thank you very much, Howard. Thank you very, very much for taking out the time from
My
the entire
pleasure
team at
speaking with
ET
you.
Now.
I look forward to next time. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you very much.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.